Hi, I'm Laura D. Pusey, the founder of Dippism Death in Practice, and this is the channel where we are talking the things on life and death, dying and grief. Each week I answer a question and I say it as I see it because I've seen a lot. In years to come, people are going to be like, have you seen a lot? What have you seen? Have you seen a lot? Anyway, in the last video, I answered the question, what is the vagus nerve and how does it affect grief? No, it had nothing to do with Mr. Vegas, although we will keep our heads high. Big yourself up, Mr. Clifford Smith. Or is it Smith? Simit. Anyway, if you have any questions about that video or you would like me to answer a question for you, send me an email at deathinpractice@gmail.com. Okay, let us now open the veil of luminescence. With the intention of infinite truths, by the pulse of sacred light, I call forth the veil of luminescence. I anchor this veil in sovereign light to transmute and contain all energetic imprints, attachments, and residues across all realms. The material plane, where grief etches into the body. The emotional plane, where sorrow swells and purges. The mental plane, where stories of loss seek resolution. The astral plane, where echoes of the departed linger. The interdimensional corridors, where ancestral and cosmic threads intertwine. The parallel universes, where grief and grace mirror each other. This veil, woven of remembrance and radiance, is encoded with clarity to discern what is yours and what is not. Containment to protect your field, compassion to honour the sacred work of grief, transmutation to alchemize pain into wisdom. Let this veil shimmer between worlds, holding space for the divinity of each soul, the teachings where presence dissolves suffering, the soul's awakening where death births depth, the healing where grief becomes grace. This veil is not a wall but a sacred membrane, allowing only what aligns with truth, love, and remembrance to pass through. By the breath of the infinite, by the pulse of the sacred, I seal this veil with sovereignty and light. Good morning. Yes, I do say good morning, and I know the history behind the word. My response is that we are all mourning something or someone at some point in our lives. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night. No, I haven't finished. This is the start of another great lecture by myself, your most humble grief consultant. And today we are discussing the prefrontal cortex. This is where the thinking brain meets the emotional experience of grief. See, there is so much more to grief that we are still getting to grips with. And the prefrontal cortex is the front of the brain. It's right behind your forehead. It's responsible for higher level thinking and regulation, including decision making, planning, and problem solving. emotional regulation, attention and focus, and understanding situations logically. It's often called the brain's control center or the rational brain. So let's dive in. Grief doesn't just involve emotion. It also affects your ability to think clearly and regulate your emotions, which is where the prefrontal cortex comes in. During grief, the brain is under stress, partly due to cortisol, which can reduce prefrontal cortex activity and cause you to have difficulty concentrating. It can cause forgetfulness and make you struggle to make decisions. That mental fog? That's the prefrontal cortex. And this is why even simple tasks can feel unusually hard. The prefrontal cortex normally helps you to calm yourself down, put things into perspective, and manage intense emotions. But in grief, emotional centers like the amygdala become more active. I wonder if I should do a video about the amygdala. Hmm. Hmm. Okay, so the prefrontal cortex has a harder time regulating your emotions. Okay, so the emotions do feel stronger, less controlled, and more overwhelming. This part of the brain naturally tries to understand why the loss happened and create a coherent story around it. That's why you might find yourself replaying events in your mind and asking, what if? Or why? And searching for the meaning in the death or the events around it. This is a normal cognitive process. It is not something that you are doing wrong. It's your body. It's your life. The prefrontal cortex helps us to integrate new realities, but grief disrupts this. So you may know the person is gone, but it doesn't feel real. Somewhere along the line, there is a disconnect between intellectual understanding and emotional acceptance, and this mismatch is a core part of grief. Over time, as stress levels decrease, the prefrontal cortex becomes more active again, and you regain clarity, perspective, and emotional regulation. This then helps you to process the death or whatever you have lost and integrate it into your life story, enabling you to begin to move forward without forgetting. The prefrontal cortex works alongside the systems that we have talked about in previous lectures. The nervous system has your body in states of anxiety, numbness, or a sense of calm about you. Cortisol causes you to feel stress, and that can impair your clear thinking ability. Dopamine is about your motivation and engagement, and oxytocin is responsible for your connection and bonding. The prefrontal cortex explains why grief can feel like, I can't think straight. I know they're gone, but it doesn't feel real. I can't control how I feel. In grief, emotional and stress systems often overpower the prefrontal cortex, and that is why logic alone can't fix how you feel. It's not about failure of willpower, it's about a temporary shift in how your brain is functioning under any kind of loss. I think a helpful way to think about it is this. In grief, your emotional brain is louder and your thinking brain is quieter. Over time, the prefrontal cortex gently comes back online, helping you to make sense of what happened, regain stability, and carry the death and subsequent losses in ways that are more manageable. Hey there! Before we close the veil of luminescence, I need your help. We now have the Grief and Loss Community Group CIC, which is a community interest company. I've set this up because our grief is in a bad way and we need something that is for us and by us to help us to understand our grief and gain an awareness of death in a more uplifting way. If you resonate with these videos and want to get involved with the national Grief and Loss Community Group, please reach out through the Grief and Loss Community Group at gmail.com. With our support and funding, you could set up a grief hub in your area or train to become a Dipism end-of-life guide or peer support grief practitioner. We need you and those approaching death or are grieving the death of a loved one. They need you too, just as you are. Contact us. Okay. So we have spoken about the prefrontal cortex and how it affects your experience of grief as an adult. But let's now look at the pickney dem because them grief it nagossa. Go back and watch lecture number 4. I talk about the children, but we are about to go deeper now. As I've said before, we've discussed the prefrontal cortex from the adult perspective. It's the part of the brain involved in reasoning, emotional regulation, and understanding complex ideas. But the prefrontal cortex, or I'm going to refer to it as the PFC, develops very slowly. Okay? In early childhood, from the ages of 0 to 5, the PFC is very immature. Middle childhood, between 6 and 11, the PFC is growing, but it's still limited. In adolescence, that's between 12 to 18, that's a large chunk. There is big changes that are happening, but the PFC is still not fully stable. Early adulthood, which is mid-20s, it's more fully developed, okay? But it's still becoming concrete, or it's still kind of, getting there. So when you check it, children don't yet have the same ability to understand permanence, regulate emotions, or make sense of complex experiences like death. So, how do our young ones experience grief? Well, from around the ages of 6 to 9, this is often a whole new concept for them. So they begin to understand death, but often in a very literal way. This means that you may have to repeat or remind them. They may ask questions again and again as they try to make sense of it all. They might ask questions like, where are they now? Whether they vocalize it or not, they may wonder whether they caused the death, and they may appear to accept it easier and quicker. Remember, it is us who put the meanings in the emotions on the experiences that we have, and they, our young ones, are watching us for their next move. They want to know if they're safe. They want to know if everything's going to be okay. The main thing to remember is that they don't process grief all at once. They dip in and out of it. From the ages of around 10 to 12, the prefrontal cortex is more developed, and it's around this time that they develop abstract thinking. So they have better understanding that death is permanent and begin to think about the implications and the meaning for them. So, what you might see is a mixture of sadness with curiosity, concern about others. Are you going to die too? Again, it's the am I safe feeling that the vagus nerve so lovingly provides for us. But they may also be trying to be strong as well. So let me take this opportunity to tell you, adult, stop telling the kids and other people that they have to be strong, man up, be the man of the family, look after their surviving person or people, and be good representatives of the family. It's absolute bullshit and causes issues for the young person down the line. If you have been told that you need to fix up for others, please distance yourself for yourself, because your grief is valid and you need to take your time to process it in your way. Have you not heard about how your body is processing this death? If not, then go back and watch these videos again. Okay? Our young ones are starting to process grief more like adults, but they are not necessarily adults. They still need support regulating their emotions. Between the ages of 13 to 18, yes, that's 13 to 18, the prefrontal cortex is still developing. It's developing rapidly, but it's not fully mature. Our teenagers can think abstractly, which means that they can make meaning of the situation around them and they can see what is fair and what is not. And they have a good idea of their identity, but their emotional regulation ability is still inconsistent. So what you might see is intense emotions like anger, sadness and confusion, withdrawal or risk-taking, questioning life, purpose, beliefs. Their emotional brain is very active, but their regulation system is still catching up. I speak about our youths in the reference workbook Tapestries of Grief, and I talk about our young ones with regard to thrill-seeking and making meaning of their experiences through music. We are often too quick to scold or discard our young ones before they are even fully formed. They may look big and tall and strapping or able, but they are still growing mentally, physically, emotionally, psychologically, spiritually, socially, and environmentally. It's bad enough that their teachers may be intimidated by them, driven by data and a desire to fulfill their obligations to the system, but to not be supported by their elders. That's you, mums, dads, aunts, uncles, godparents, and everyone else around them. It's a devastation in their lives, and it's a blight on their future generations. How do you think your grandbabies and great-grandbabies will turn out? So next time you see one of our youths messing around, just remember there is a lot going on inside. And on top of that, regardless of distance, someone who perhaps really checked for them or was a key person in their life may have died at some point in their short lives. At the best of times, adults don't like to talk about death. So how are our young ones supposed to figure it out? The prefrontal cortex helps with understanding finality, making sense of events, regulating emotional responses, holding two truths at once. For example, they're gone, but I remember them. Since the prefrontal cortex is still developing in our children, grief is less verbal and logical, more behavioural, physical, and intermittent. So, why does our children's grief look so different? Children often grieve in bursts, not continuously, switching quickly between sadness and play. They revisit the grief as they grow and understand more. This is sometimes called grieving in layers. As their brain develops, they reprocess the loss again at each developmental stage. A simple way to understand it is like this. Adults can say, I understand what's happened, but it hurts. Children will know that something has happened, but they don't fully understand what it is. Our young ones don't need perfect explanations. They need consistency, and safety is necessary. Don't shy away from speaking to them. If they ask you a question, give them an age-appropriate answer. Remember, our little ones are still growing and learning. This is likely to be a new experience for them, maybe even you. But keep your words simple. Answer their questions honestly. And be aware that you may have to repeat yourself many times. It's natural and normal, and it's okay. Give them space to express their grief in non-verbal ways, through play, through art, or however their behaviour plays out. Try creating a memory box with them. Give them their agency and respect by asking them if you can decorate it with them, or whether they want to decorate it themselves. If you use an adult shoebox, then you can cut a slip in the top where they can post notes of how they are feeling or what they are thinking. Again, ask them whether you are allowed to look in it from time to time to check in on them in case they write stuff that they simply cannot verbally tell you. Let them decide where they will put it and what will go into it. And of course, invite them to write letters to their loved one or poems for them. As long as you are age appropriate with them, you can't get it wrong. Just talk to them. And if you can't, because your vagus nerve is doing its thing, then appoint someone who can, like a godparent, a family member, a friend, a trusted teacher, or even a counselling professional. There is absolutely no shame in this. Whatever matters the most is the children. There are organisations out there like Winston's Wish and Child Bereavement UK who were very helpful when members of my family needed them. Big yourself up, Sharon. I see you. Okay, so that's it for the prefrontal cortex. As usual, I am just touching the sides or skimming the top off it, so you can go deeper in your own time and understand, overstand, understand the oh so beautiful and unique you. As the song goes, the children are the future. It is our responsibility to speak to them about life-changing events before, during, and after life-changing events. Let them know what their bodies are doing and how they might feel as a result. Make words like cortisol and oxytocin and the nervous system interesting. Embed them into conversation and normalize them. That will help them, and it will also help you. And if there is anything that you don't know, do your research and look deeper, also with your little ones too, so that they can help you and you can help them more effectively when you buck up on a hard time. If you have any thoughts about anything in this video and you need to share your thoughts with me, then let me know at deathinpractice@gmail.com. Please state clearly whether or not any of your email can be shared. If you would like a one-to-one with myself or one of my grief practitioners, then contact us at www.dipism.com. Very soon, in future, and maybe when you are watching this video, then the best website to contact us through might well be www.griefandlosscommunitygroup.com. The workbooks Tapestries of Grief and My Life's Tapestry are available on Amazon, and the basic Dipism End of Life course that helps you to assist those at the end of their life, and the Dipism Grief Awareness course that helps you to assist those who are grieving are both now available online. You see, I'm not editing that out. I refuse. If someone you know needs to see this video or would benefit from end of life or grief services, don't be a diva. Share the video far and wide. You never know who is struggling, thinking that they are abnormal as their bodies continue to process. All of my links are in the description box below. And now, let us close the veil of luminescence. By the breath of the infinite, by the pulse of the sacred, I honour the veil of luminescence now fulfilled. This veil, once summoned to transmute and contain, has held the field with clarity, compassion, and sovereign light. As the teachings settle and the soul integrates, I call forth the sacred closure of this veil across all realms. On the mental plane, let the body rest in renewal. On the emotional plane, let sorrow soften into spaciousness. On the mental plane, let stories find stillness. On the astral plane, let echoes return to source. Through interdimensional corridors, let threads untangle. Across spheres and planetary systems, allow contracts to be honoured and released. Let all residues now return to their rightful place, dissolved, dispersed, or transmuted by sovereign light. Let the veil fold inward, encoded with discernment to preserve what is true, containment to seal what is sacred, compassion to cradle what remains tender, and wisdom to carry forth what has been alchemized. This veil is reabsorbed into the soul's archive, a luminous record of presence, grief, and transformation. By the breath of the infinite, by the pulse of the sacred, I seal this veil with sovereignty and light.